Welcome to the Joyful Miles podcast, the podcast that's all about inspiring you to enjoy life 1 mile at a time. I'm your host, Rob, and joining us this week, we have Laura.
Hello, everybody.
And back from her Florida vacation is Jackie. And Jackie, judging from the pictures, it seems like it was just a little bit warmer than marathon weekend.
Oh my God, it was so nice. It felt so good.
You even went to a water park.
I was so jealous of that.
We went to Blizzard Beach, and oh my gosh, it was great. There's nobody there, so it was really relaxing. So definitely don't forget those. We have so many days left from former hoppers. Don't forget your water parks. They're fun.
Yeah,
I love water parks. I'm the only one in my family who really likes them, so we have to go one time.
We should do that. That would be so fun.
we'll have to look at April, see if we can make that work.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I would be all over that.
But speaking of Disney, Laura, we are just about a week away from the Princess Half Marathon.
Yay!
And I wasn't sure if you wanted to just remind everybody of the meetup you have scheduled and when that's going to be and logistically where that is.
Yes, I am so excited about this because the weather forecast is going to be nice and warm so far. You know, things can change on a dime. But yes, looking pretty good. So definitely, if you're going to be a princess, you want to hydrate. Grab some water while you're listening to this now. Go into the race weekend hydrated rather than waiting until the race starts. But we are going to have a group meetup with Gerald from RezRuns and with Kimberly Estabrook on Friday at the Boardwalk right near where the Ample Hills Creamery is from 3 to 4:30. So I would love to see anyone if you can make it out. That'd be great.
And in preparation of your Princess journey, be sure to check out all of the material we have on Princess. We chatted last week with Kristen, who is a perfect princess. So be sure to check out that episode. Plus lots of videos revolving around Princess. And Laura, you did a nice little blog post this week with a bunch of tips.
It was tiny. It was just
a little bit.
Hits.
What did it take you, like 5 minutes to slap together?
Yeah. Just 100 tips. That's all.
I couldn't think of 100 anything, I don't think. But this week we wanted to kind of reset a little bit. We are just about a month and a half into the year, and we wanted to check in with our goals in goal setting, a very, very important part of training and keeping yourself accountable. And also answer some of your questions, because we've gotten a lot of questions over the last week or so from our Joyful Miles Running Club. So starting with goals, ladies, how are you both approaching this year? What's important to you? And what are you hoping to achieve?
You want to go first, Laura?
I was already chatty, so I was going to take a break and let you.
Jackie, say something. I don't think you've said anything.
Okay, for me personally, last year was a huge running year for me. I had joined Orange Theory, and for the first time, kind of cared a little bit about my pace, which is still probably slower than most people. But so this year, I would love to set a new PR for a race. I don't know if that'll happen because I'm not going to Orange Theory as much. So that's my other goal. I want to keep up with the cross training. I still enjoy Orange Theory, but I will admit I'm just getting a little burned out from it. You know, I get bored easily. A year is like the longest I've ever done anything. And I'm still going to go, but I've lowered my membership to like twice a year. So or twice a week, I guess 8 times a month. So I just want to make sure I get my full 8 classes in and maybe get a new PR. But other than that, I'm not too much of a goal setter.
Do you have a specific like distance or time in mind that you're shooting for?
No, I just want to be by even 1 second my PR, which was Broad Street last year. So I don't even remember what it was. It was like average pace of, what was it, 10:17 maybe?
I think just around 10 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I just want to beat it. I'd be happy to beat it by a second, but I don't necessarily think I'm doing much to make that happen. I will say I'm not much of a goal person. I'm more like, I just want to do these races and I want to have fun and I want to be able to stay healthy and not get injured. So that's always my goal.
Speaking of injury, Laura, I bet that has to play a little bit in your goals.
Oh my goodness, it does. I have this super huge hashtag run all the races attitude this year. You know, because I mean, knock on wood, you know, my feet are hanging in there. The therapy has been helping. So yeah, and I am the big goal setter. I have my happy planner with all sorts of what?
So we're like yin and yang, you and I.
I know. I was gonna say, how many pages is that? Is there 100 goals there too to match your tips?
It's quite ugly. But the number one is I'm doing the Run the Year 2018 challenge where you run 2018 miles in 2018. You can partner up with someone or do it in solo or a group of up to 4. And I'm going to partner up with Heather Jorgensen. So yeah, we're each going to do 109 miles. I did this back in, what was it, 2015 with Jenny.
2009. You said 109. Just want to clarify.
Did I? Okay, thank you, honey. Keep me. And it's early too. I have no excuse. We're actually taping early during the day for once. So, but yeah, it was really good to keep me accountable. I love to check in with other people. And Heather started. Our team is Team Miles of Awesome. We kind of combined Joyful Miles and her tagline, "Go find your awesome." So you can find us on Instagram and just use the hashtag Miles of Awesome. But yeah, I mean, besides that, Jackie, I have the same goal to get a new PR because mine officially has run out. Thank goodness I had like 1 month left to go for it when I signed up for Star Wars. Shoo. So I want to get a new 10K proof of time and a new 10 miler or half miler to use for our next either Dopey or marathon weekend adventure. And a big one to me, a super huge one, is I have really bad issues with knots in my calves and my shoulders. And a lot of times I'll work on them. I'll use my buffer, I'll roll, but then I'm not always consistent and they come back. And I'm at that age where if I don't take care of these issues now, it's just going to get progressively worse. So, I need to be more responsible when it comes to stretching and rolling and taking care of myself, because I'll be the first to admit it, and I've always had this, oh, I'm hardy, I don't need to stretch out, whatever attitude before. And it really did kick me in the butt for a very long time. So, this year I want to be smarter. How about that?
Smarter. That's a decent idea. It's interesting how a year can change everything. When I look at where I was last year, I was not happy. I was in an in-between phase. I kind of fallen out of shape. I was about 20 pounds heavier than I am now. So my goals have changed now. I'm not really focused on losing weight as much. I'm pretty much where I'm going to be, I think, just maintaining it. And a few years ago, I really wanted to qualify for Boston. I really wanted that to make my goal. But now I'm a little bit more realistic. Life is crazy. With 2 little boys and work, it's hard to dedicate the type of training to be able to get that fast. But still, for me, I want a sub-4 marathon, and I'm hoping by Chicago I can do that. So I have at least 3 marathons this year, maybe 4, if I get in New York. So I'm hoping by the time I get to Chicago, I can do a sub-4. So we'll see.
What is your qualifying time, Rob, for Boston? I'm just for your age group. I'm just curious.
It's right around 3 hours.
3 hours.
That's not happening anytime soon. I got to get a little older. Make those times kind of match up a little bit.
That's where I'm at 4 now for my age group. So I would actually probably try to knock 5 minutes off my time then, just so I'd have a more shot. That sounds great. But yeah, I kind of took that off my list too. It's just, I don't know. I don't think it's realistic, and not being negative, but
I think it's important to be realistic with your goals, not to set yourself up for failure. Because if you're going to put yourself in a negative space if you're not achieving these astronomical goals. So you got to kind of break it down, keep it simple. You don't have to necessarily do these long timelines. Keep it like, okay, I'm going to do that, this week. And that's how we kind of handle marathon training, right? Like we're just going to tackle we're not going to worry about having to get to 20 miles 6 months from now. We want to make sure that we're hitting certain hallmarks along the way. So if you break it down and make it more attainable and you're honest with yourself, I mean, if you're a busy person, if you've got kids, if you've got a crazy job and your hours are nuts, it's hard to fit these things in. So be realistic with yourself.
Mm-hmm. I also break my goals into quarters. I think it puts a lot of pressure on you when you set these big yearly goals or resolution, because life can change so much throughout this time. And so I do, I have my quarterly goals, and when you look at it in a 12-week basis, it's less intimidating. It's easier to really focus, which, by the way, is my word of the year. Do you guys do that? Do you pick a word of the year that's kind of like the theme that you want to hold to, or anything like that?
No, but maybe I should.
No, I can pick a word though if you want me to.
You guys are motivated.
I can say it here.
I feel like one of the listeners, like, maybe I need to do these things.
I know.
It really helps, like when you, because sometimes I know for myself, I make far too many goals and I put a lot of pressure on myself. And when you just take a step back and you look at your life and you really think, and I pray for the word, for God to give me the word that I really just need to think about. And I did not want to use the word focus because focus isn't pretty or poignant. I wanted something like joy or peace or something like that. And the word focus kept popping in my head. And I was like, all right, God, I'm listening. So yeah, that in my personal life outside of running, that's something I'm really trying to do is just kind of step back, slow down a little bit with things that aren't really working towards my goals, which is to sell my third book this year and to get a book ready to self-publish as well. So yeah, it really helps. It really helps to kind of, help you focus.
It's important too. Like if you're depending upon what your goal is, it can be overwhelming to think like what it's going to take to get there. If you're in a place where you've got to lose some weight or you want to get faster, it's not something that happens overnight, and to be able to sustain the consistency you need, you got to kind of just think about, okay, I got to lose like 1 pound this week, or I'm going to do 1 extra mile this week, or whatever it is. And just kind of, you got to keep that. It's a grind. But again, the difference a year can make, it can be astronomical.
Yeah. Very much.
Okay. Any other goals that you ladies have for this year?
Well, what are our big races this year? Rob, I want to go ahead. I know you have some pretty awesome ones lined up.
Yeah. I mean, we're all doing Dark Side, which is very exciting.
Yay. Sorry, I'm excited.
I know that's going to be a lot of fun. And then Jackie and Laura, we've got the Buffalo Marathon at the end of May.
I can't wait.
Signed up for the marathon. You ladies are currently signed up for the half, yes?
I'm thinking half.
Yeah.
Right now.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking, Laura? Half?
I'm thinking, well, of course I want to do the full because when I go, I want to go big. But I know with my past foot injury and issues, I am doing the Baltimore full marathon as part of the King Crab Challenge. And 3 marathons a year might be too much on my feet. So I might just do the half and
the cool
have
thing
a blast.
Is you can upgrade. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think for me is going to depend on the weather. We had a really long winter last year and that really affected my training for the Buffalo Bull. So there is that part of me. I mean, it was so rewarding to do it. And I felt so proud, and I'm not trying to knock a half. A half is still a huge accomplishment, but for me, doing the Buffalo Full was just amazing. So there is part of me that wants to do it again this year. I just have to see. I'm going to see how the next couple of months go and how in the weather and stuff. So,
and that's a race. We talked about this, that I don't have any specific goal for yet. And like Jackie, it's going to depend upon how I feel at that point, like how the training goes between now and then. Because like you said, the winters are so crazy. Even when you get into March and early April, you just don't know you could still be dealing with snow and cold and ice. So, so it depends on how much running I can get between now and then and where I'm feeling my pace is. But then I've also got Chicago in October, which is going to be exciting. First time doing Chicago. First time actually being in Chicago. So that's going to be fun. And then we'll see what happens with New York. I'll find out, I think 2 weeks from today, actually, if I get in again, and if not, it's it's okay. But
it's wine and dine.
Yeah, we'll see.
Woohoo!
No, maybe we'll see. We'll take a look.
I definitely want to do wine and dine this year.
Me too. That's definitely one I'm planning.
Yeah.
But
very good.
And I think we're still trying to figure out what other race we want to do.
I know, because we have in May you have the Baltimore, the Frederick one.
The Frederick. I love that race. It's a good one to PR too. Except at the very end, they have this huge hill that just kind of like smacks you right at the butt.
Same race directors and their hills to the end. I don't understand it. Why do they do that?
Yeah, it's a great course. It's a fun weekend. I'm also doing the Baltimore 10 miler. I need to go in with a better attitude. I really didn't care for the course that much this last time that I did it. So maybe I was just having a cranky day. Who knows? So
out there, I'm doing the Cedar Point.
I want to do that so much, but I can't. That looked like a blast. And what else did you do? The Shawshank?
The Shawshank Hustle. So like if you're in somewhat the Ohio area or can get there, that's a really fun race weekend because they're only about 45 minutes from each other. So the Shawshank one's on Saturday, and then we drive to Cedar Point for Sunday morning. Is you could do a 5K, 10K, or half for Cedar, and it's really cheap. It's like $70, and you get 2 days. I think maybe $80. You get 2 days of park tickets.
That's awesome.
So it's a
What
steal.
weekend is that again, Jackie?
I think like June 4th or 5th, around there.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I think it's the following, isn't it the following weekend from Buffalo?
I think there's one in between.
Okay.
I'd have to double check. Maybe it's the following. I'd have to get my calendar.
I think that's the same weekend as the Baltimore 10 miler, and that's why it was out for me. One of these years, I'll do that.
Yeah, it's fun.
And Jackie, do you think you'll do the Christmas story run again?
Oh, yeah, definitely doing that. That's a tradition. Christmas story run, just first week of December, Cleveland. I think that's just become a family staple. Oh, and I'm doing, I forgot to tell you guys, I'm doing the Hershey 10K, and that is early April. Taking the family. So we're going to go do, that's another great
That's
one.
that's a great one too.
That's really fun.
I haven't done that yet. Every year I have something else going on, but that's on my wish list.
It's a fun little getaway.
So those are our goals. We'd like to hear more about your goals, and a great place to do that is at Joyful Miles Running Club, because that's really all we talk about is people's training, races you're training for, what you're looking to accomplish this year, and how we can help. So, and it's also a great place to ask some questions. So we have some questions from some of our Joyful Miles Running Club members that I figure we could probably burn through and see how many we can get through today.
Sure.
Sound good?
Awesome. Wait.
All right.
I was supposed to say awesome. It kind of sounded like something else, didn't it? Sorry.
Laura's got different things on her brain right now.
I'm telling you.
So Jeremy DeLong writes, I would like to hear about the difference between training for a normal Run Disney Challenge and how you guys train for Dopey. Do you train for these things?
I guess I heard about it.
For me, when it comes to Dopey, I'm not, some runners would hate me, but I don't train for the Dopey part. I just focus on the marathon.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I just am like, get me to my 26 miles because I know I can do the other 3.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can take it easy if I need to. And then for me personally, it's just the marathon I focus on. I'm not someone who like worries about the muscle recovery in between each day because I know I'm not pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're trained for a marathon, the other races are going to take care of themselves, I think. And I know I don't want to make that sound very simplistic, but I know a lot of people try to focus on doing back-to-back runs. I did some of those, like running maybe 8 miles one day, 8 the next, just to see how you kind of feel. Typically, when I training for a marathon, I try to do at least 2 runs a week, a long run of double digits and a smaller run of like 4 to 6 miles, depending upon the week or how I'm feeling. But again, if you're training for a marathon and you do everything right, by the time you get to Dopey, you'll be fine. Okay. Keep in mind, it is an athletic challenge. We're not diminishing it by any stretch, but like Jackie said, you can definitely get by, especially with the 5K and 10K, by taking a much more lax attitude towards, you don't have to go all out for it.
Mm-hmm.
I also worry sometimes the back-to-backs ahead of time would cause an injury.
Mm-hmm. Overtraining can be bad too.
I just feel like, I'd rather go into the race healthy and be able to do it. I don't want to get hurt before I even get there. I tend to be a little more cautious when it comes to that stuff.
I think for Dopey, something important to consider is cross training. You really have to cross train. If you just focus on running only and you're not strengthening your muscles, you're not, you're going to be putting yourself up for risk for injury and being sore. And it is important to have time on your feet. You don't have to run these super huge back-to-back runs, even if you just go out and walk. Like if you have a long run on Sunday and you go out for a walk on Saturday, you're just spending time on your feet and getting yourself moving. So are we talking about how we trained? Is that coming up in another question or?
Well, so Claire Marianne asked specifically about things we do to cross-train.
Uh-huh.
But we'll actually kind of save that and shelve that. We're going to actually come back to that and do a whole show around cross-training coming up. But I think that's a good point, Laura. Walking, people kind of poo-poo walking, but I've always said anytime you're looking to increase distance, walk it first. You want to run a marathon, go walk 26 miles and see what that feels like. just, from the sense of what it's like to be on the road for that long, how it is to be on your feet for that long. Get a sense of what that distance actually looks like, so you can kind of mentally prepare for it, and you're kind of warming yourself up to be able to run to it.
And cycling too, if you have a stationary bike, that is wonderful for cross training, because you're not spending, like, you don't want to cross train with like a really high intense program like Insanity, where you're jumping up and down, putting a lot of strain and stress on your Achilles. A bike, that's what saved me for my Dopey training. Cycling is amazing. Or if you just want to do a lot more yoga is fantastic, because not only is it going to strengthen you and your core, but it's going to stretch you out really well as well. So I actually love Payo. I'm totally in love with Payo now. It's like my favorite. Don't ask me who does it. Charlene, I can't even remember her last name. But it's a Beachbody program.
Okay. Stacy McCarty asks, are the three of us planning on running any races 2019 marathon weekend?
Well, had you asked this question in December, you would have gotten a completely different answer. You would have been like, no, forget it. This is too much.
It'll change every day.
Yeah.
It depends on the mood in some of our households, but
yep.
I definitely want to do the marathon again.
Yes.
Me too.
That race, it's affordable. It's the most bang for your buck. There's so much, it's so fun. And then I'm thinking maybe the following year, 2020, maybe Goofy at least, because then it's an anniversary medal.
Oh yeah.
So I like my special medals there. So, and we do need to get a half. Well, I know you always do Princess, but for me next year, I have to get a half if we're going to do Paris, because we've got to get our Chateau de Castle medal.
Yeah, we do.
So that would nip that out right away.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards. We'll see how things pan out, but barring any issues, I'd like to be at least to be able to do the marathon. Maybe Goofy.
I would like to at least do that.
It's fun to go and run just one race, right? Even though it's a marathon, you got to have some sort of a challenge, right?
I would want to do the full, and then I want to do Dopey in 2020. Yeah, because I do love the Dopey challenge.
But none of us are doing Dopey. We're going on record as saying it. Not doing Dopey next year.
Nope.
When does registration open?
April.
Well, this will be the first, Star Wars will be the first race weekend in a long time where we are just, I know, Rob, you're doing the whole thing, but Laura and I are just doing the half. So it's going to be interesting, and we're going to get a vibe. Like, do we feel like we're missing out? Were we happy with it? So I think that'll help us with marathon weekend next year if we want to do Goofy compared to just the fall. Will we feel like we're missing out?
Oh, I can tell you that once I see the medals, I'm going to be like, oh, man, I want a medal too. But it's okay. We're going to cheer. We're going to do the half, have fun. It's all cool. And we saved a lot of money, Jackie, because you and I lately, last year we got a little carried away. Disneyland, Avengers.
We did a lot of races, especially California twice.
Worth it. I'm so glad we did that.
Okay, we did Avengers.
Yeah.
Sorry. Side note.
Sorry, Rob. We'll move on.
Well, speaking of kind of run Disney events and weekends and challenges, Megan Brower wants to know, I would love to hear about how you make the most of your park time during Run Disney race weekends, vacations. I find it's a delicate balance between, and I'm interested to hear how you plan for enjoying the parks during racecations. We're
not always known for making mature choices at times. I think there was a wine and dine weekend where I think we averaged 8 hours sleep the whole weekend. It was a blast. But yeah, if it's a half marathon challenge weekend, we definitely do allow ourselves some more park time, because we're conditioned, and you need to keep that in mind when you're training. You're not only training to run these races, but you also want to be able to enjoy the parks. But we do we don't do the power touring. We're not zigzagging across the park to hit all these major rides. We don't always do rope drop. We make fast passes to help with lines. And we go in to have fun, but we're a lot more relaxed. And for the most part, we make sure that if we do make a dinner ADR, it's around 5 o'clock. Because you don't want to be coming back late and maybe getting a crowded bus and having to wait at the bus stop, and that adds to your stress level. So you do need to, the first priority has to be the race. And another tip too is you want to bring good recovery shoes, whether they're flip-flops like UFOs or the Tiva mushes, or like a pair of running shoes that you have retired for running but are still good to walk around the parks. During a Dopey weekend or any type of race weekend, it's not the time to bring the cute sandals and the cute shoes. You need to take care of your feet. And also, recover well after each race. I'm guilty of this. You get excited, you don't get the protein in, you don't get the hydration in. Recover well, take care of your feet, be realistic with your park time, and you can still have a blast.
It's a hard question for us to answer because we have the good fortune of going a lot.
Yes.
If there's somebody that doesn't get a chance to go very often or doesn't have an annual pass, I mean, the park time is going to be just as important as the races. So you've got to, you got to be able to fit it in. But like Laura said, you got to be smart about it. You can't go commando.
I know. I felt this Shannon during Dopey weekend bought, this hopper ticket. She doesn't get to go a lot. And I think she wasted even maybe 1 or 2 days of it. And the one day, we were tired. We didn't necessarily want to go, but we're like, we have to get our money's worth. And we went. We had a good time, but we would have been just as happy sometimes sitting in the room. But again, especially me, and like Rob was saying, we get to go more often.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're in a different boat.
But the benefit to the magic bands and stuff is you get to make at least 3 fast passes in advance. So if you're smart about it and schedule your 3 fast passes, your 3 key attractions, you can kind of plan a few things around that. And it just helps, from a planning standpoint, make sure you can get in a few must-dos at least each day.
Yeah.
But again, that's a good point, Jackie. Be smart with, your ticket purchases too. If these race weekends, it's very hard to park up effectively and really make it worth your while. So you may want to say, oh, the park up is not worth it for a race weekend.
Yeah.
Be a little bit smarter in that regard.
And also, if you want to save some money, Disney Springs is a great place to visit. A lot of fun there, and you can resort hop or something and still have a good time. So
yeah, we could probably do a whole nother show on this.
I know we better stop because you're going to get us on Disney Talk, and
I know this is where we go off on our tangents. Laura, you mentioned shoes. We got a couple of shoe questions here. Laura Chappell wants to know how many pair of shoes do we train in for Dopey, and where do we get our costumes?
I purchased, the one thing you definitely want to do is when you're into these heavy, high mileage weekends, it's not a really good time to change your shoe model or your shoe type because your feet become accustomed to a certain railing system or different padding, and just something, can throw you off when you get into the high mileage. So I did purchase 2 extra shoes. I wear the Hoka Arahis. It has a Meta Rocker system. I need that because of my feet issues. So I purchased 2 spares at the start of my training. And then I would rotate, after my one retired, I would rotate between those other 2.
For me, I have feet issues as well. I have a very hard time finding shoes that fit. And before my very first half in 2013, I found the Brooks Pure Connects, which I fell in love with. It was the first time in my life I could run more than 3 miles with my feet not hurting, and loved them. And then they changed them for the model like Pure Connect 2 and 3. I did not like them. So I started going on eBay and trying to find like that shoe. And that lasted me a few years. And then finally they came out with the Model 4. And now they've discontinued that. So I'm back to like scavenging eBay looking for this model shoe. And I'm like panicking because they don't make them anymore. So
that's why when you find a shoe that you really like, if you can afford it, buy 2 just for this reason.
I have about 5 pairs of them, and I should have been more careful of like keeping track of how many miles. I could kind of tell by the wear and tear by now, but I have probably 6 pairs of the same exact shoe.
I'm not good with tracking either, and it's very easy to do. If you have a Garmin or some type of GPS, normally in the app, you can select what shoe you're wearing for that race or run.
I was going to say, that leads us into Bradley Wilkinson wanted to know what is our favorite running shoe. And for me, it's Brooks Glycerins, but it wasn't always that way. I used to be an ASICS guy, but then something wasn't feeling right with one of them, and then I actually got fitted. And they were like, you're in the wrong type of shoe. They suggested the Brooks glycerins, and it's been great ever since. But to Jackie's point, sometimes when they change the model, they're not as good. So you have to kind of actually try them out and see, like, what the changes are. If they feel differently, might be your favorite shoe might not be your favorite shoe anymore. You may have to switch gears, or if you're fortunate enough, find some older pairs on eBay like Jackie does.
I'm gonna look after this. I haven't looked in a few.
I know I got to get some new shoes here soon. I'm like, yeah. There's a model 15 now. I'm like, I haven't tried the 15s yet. I'm nervous.
Cooper loves those too.
I'm like specific. Brooks Pure Connect 4, size 7.5. It's easy to search because I need something very specific. But.
Hoka Arahi, size 9.
And do you guys use like any sort of inserts, super feet inserts? Do you do anything
Not anymore.
like that?
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
I have custom orthotics. I have to run in custom orthotics. I forgot about that. How could I forget with those price tags?
I know. I used to do the super feet thing, but then I found out for a while it would actually kind of hurt my feet more. I don't know if it's maybe the wrong type, but I actually find that just having the regular running shoe now is just better. So, all right. Any other thoughts on shoes?
No, but to touch base on costumes, we didn't.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about the costume.
So for costumes, we tend to get a lot of things on Amazon, a lot of little touches that we've added. I remember our furry leg warmers, pom-poms, things like that are cheap on Amazon. You definitely want to look for Prime or make sure you order far enough in advance. And we have gotten, some things at Joann Fabrics and Etsy. We've bought a couple things off Etsy, but sometimes those prices add up. So luckily we have Laura here that she's saved us many times and has made us lots of matching ears to go with our costumes. Laura,
I just did a video on that if anyone's curious. I did a tutorial video that was such a pain to film. I'm never going to do another crafting.
It didn't look like a pain. You did really well. I mean, it looked very easy.
There was pain behind that smile, Jackie. Because you never know how many steps you need to explain. Like, do you have to explain that you trace out before cutting, or people aren't that dumb? But yeah, it turned out cute. I was glad that I got a lot of response, and I got some pictures sent to me already of people who made their ears, and they look fantastic. So I'm loving that.
I need every little step, I will admit. When we did the USO, like, I kept rewinding.
Oh my gosh.
What did I miss? So I love those kind of videos because people like me, I do not have the common sense. I need it step by step. So thanks for doing that. Wait, does this mean I have to make my own ears now?
Oh, look at that. No, I will always make your ears. No worries.
Refer to the video, Jackie. Just follow the video, and yours will look just as good, if not better, than what Laura does.
No, they'll never be better.
All right, a couple more here. Dan Davis, Dangerous Danny Davis, for you wrestling nuts. I don't think it's the same one. Do they have any men merchandise, Laura, at the Princess Expo? I didn't see anything during the teas.
No, I have never seen any Princess half marathon themed men's wear. It is a women's oriented race, but they will have a lot of non-race specific Run Disney gear in both the ladies and the guys there. So hopefully they'll take care of you there.
Laura, are all the shirts typically female cut, or are they just, could some guys get away with buying some of like the princess stuff based off the different cuts? Or are they all the same? Yeah,
they're cut for the gals. Okay. You never know. And maybe some of the jackets, I know some jackets that they sell out they do have a boxier cut. So maybe they would work. And then of course, they're going to have the baseball cap again this year that, is non-gender specific. And they have lots of pins, magnets, some cool stuff. So it's going to be crazy. Oh my gosh, it's going to be insane because they only made 500 of this princess themed magic band and the Dooney and Burke style. It's going to be insane. So once again, we are going late. I can't, guys.
Well, they just released the expo map, right? And the new building's in play now, right?
Yes, that's kind of exciting.
So we are eagerly awaiting your report on all this, Laura, because
so we know what to do for Star Wars.
I know. Lisa Classic would like to know, what is the average price to use Uber to get to Expo or in the morning for races? all dependent upon where you're coming from. But on average, I don't think the Uber rides are more than 10 to 15 bucks if you're doing like the standard Uber. XL would probably be a little bit more if you're getting like the minivan or something, but I don't think I've ever paid more than 10, 15 bucks for an Uber ride anywhere on property.
Yeah.
Same here.
I know from All Stars, it's about $6 to $7.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Mm-hmm. And I know the minivans are an option, but they just upped those prices now. It's a flat $25 to go anywhere on property with the Lyft minivan. So to me, Uber's still the better value.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely worth it. If you're not renting a car, use it. Especially for the expo. I just find it's a lot less stressful. And lastly, we have Laura Chappelle, who's already looking ahead to 2020. Any idea when marathon will be in 2020? I got lucky with school being out this time. Roughly the same time, but hard to know. I think
it's a week later, right?
Yeah, I mean
that would be great.
Yeah, it'd be great. I mean, maybe not for her if she needs the kids out of school, but
you have to look at a calendar and see, because you could kind of predict it, because it can't be. This year was probably the closest it would ever be to New Year's.
Yes.
It fell because you can't have it. It's usually the week before Martin Luther King. It's the weekend before that.
But we should know probably later this year. I think typically they have the race calendar out by the I think August. I think right August, September-ish for the following for 2020. Because 2019's out there right now. We can go and see what all the races are for 2019. I think that came out a few months ago. So I think it's later in the year we should have 2020's calendar up too.
When does Star Wars open?
For next year?
Yeah, it's 2019, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
It would be cool though if they added.
I don't think it's not announced yet because they haven't had this year's Star Wars. We just know when Wine and Dine Marathon Weekend Princess is. Wine and Dine is going to be opening up in March, so get those pennies ready, girl.
Mm-hmm. Well, those are some good questions this week. Thank you so much for sending those in. We always appreciate answering your questions. And if you haven't already, join the Joyful Miles Running Club so you can help each other out, ask some more questions there. We'll probably do another Q&A show upcoming. And you can also tweet at us on Twitter or follow our regular Facebook page. You can find us on Instagram and, of course, YouTube, and subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. If you have a sec, leave us a review. We appreciate those things. They certainly help. I'll put links to all of these things in the show notes, as well as some of the things we talked about today. So, if you forgot something or you didn't write it down, it'll be in the show notes for you, or you can just ask. We'll let you know. And thank you so much for listening. Always, the support has been fantastic. The engagement's been fantastic. So we really do appreciate it. And for Jackie, Laura, and myself, we want to thank you for listening. Have a joyful week, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody.
Now, Jackie, it's morning, so we don't have to worry about waking anybody up.
I have the whole house to myself. It's like,
dogs didn't even budge. What?
I know. We should do this every week.
That's great.
The heck with work. We'll just give it up and do this.
Woo!